ghouls and geeks. Welcome back to Podcast Release and Release. I am your very sleepy host, Louis Stardust.
And I'm your co-host, Joe Matissa, the other guy.
I am so sleepy today. I'm like, yeah, I'm yawning.
I like your little hoodie there.
Mm-hmm.
Winter is coming. That's pretty cool.
Winter's here, bitch. It's cold. It's sleepy season. I made myself a grilled cheese and tomato soup today. Like, it's winter. But I've been waking up, like, we normally wake up at, like, not, like, between 9 and 10, I would say, right? It's, like, when we're up and doing stuff. Maybe a little bit before, maybe, like, a nice 8:30. I've been waking up at 7 every day. And for those who are wondering, like, when we record this podcast, it's, like, usually between 11 to 1 a.m. is, like, when we start to record this. Joe is a night owl. Point of my story is, like, I don't know how to function. How do people get up this early and function is my question. Because I'm loving having, I feel like I got all this extra time in the day. I wake up, I do like some like little stretchies. I play some World of Warcraft. I hang out with dogs. I have a nice like chill, quiet time with myself. And then I'm like crashing hard. And what time is it right now?
It's only like
it's not
11
even
o'clock
11
at night.
o'clock, and I'm crashing.
Not late at all.
I was just playing World of
Non-stop.
Warcraft, and I was falling asleep.
I'll pass
in
you
the
some
computer.
coffee you can drink.
I don't drink caffeine, and you know what? I probably would do very well because I literally was falling asleep
Come
in the
on.
computer. I was flying in my game half asleep. So,
Well,
anyways, I need
smack
to wake
yourself around a little bit, and I'm going to get this episode prepped up. We are on episode 59. We're going to go over WandaVision, the newest episode. We're going to go over a movie called Archenemy, and then we're going to go over another show we started called SK8 The Infinity. So that should be pretty fun. I think we'll start off with WandaVision like we've been doing. The latest episode has been a little bit of a whirlwind because, as you may remember over the last episode before that, they expanded the Hex and things went a little crazy. So now it's the aftermath of that, and we had a really big, kind of reveal at the end of the episode. So I'm really excited to talk a little bit about that. What did you think of that episode we watched?
So I loved the style of it. It was very like Modern Family-esque, which I love that show. It's like my guilty pleasure. I don't know. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. If you like something, you like it, but that's definitely like would be one for me. I love that show. The whole episode was like pretty good. I just wanted a little bit more from it. Like maybe 3 more minutes and I would be fine, Like I feel like there's just I get it though. Is there more episodes coming?
Yeah, there are more
How
episodes
many?
coming. That was episode, I believe, 7, and I think it's going to be a 10-episode thing.
Cool.
I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that, but
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be about 10 episodes.
Well, the main thing I liked this episode was Kat Dennings. I will take more Kat Dennings. I will take Kat Dennings in adorable outfits. I will take Kat Dennings driving cars. I will take her in, I don't know why this is like a Dr. Seuss song that I'm doing right now or a poem, but Kat Dennings all the time, forever, the end.
Why? Has she done like a lot of stuff? I don't know if I remember her in many things.
She's in a lot of stuff that I like, but I just think she's like very charismatic. So like every time she's on screen doing something, I just think it's funny and enjoy it. Like her and Vision in the car was like
Yeah, I like her character.
Yeah.
Her character's pretty cool. And it's funny when she gets the Hex expands and the episode starts, and basically it's a big circus there where the sword tents were all set up. And she was handcuffed to a Jeep. And it's funny because everybody kind of transforms with something a little relative to what they were doing or who they are or whatever. So she became an escape artist. And Vision, when he came back to life, he pops up and sees this all going on and then points her out of a crowd basically and is like, hey, what's going on? And she's kind of a little bit lost in it because she's thinking that he's a clown trying to like,
Hit on her?
hit on her basically.
Yeah, that whole sequence
It's
is
really
so
funny,
good.
yeah. And then basically he gives her the little temple rub and jolts her back to herself, and they decide to kind of run off. And she punches out like a, the strongman kind of guy, like the traditional strongman, and they kind of, dip off in one of those big trucks. So it's pretty funny. I love the start of the episode. I love all the things like you were saying, the reality show-esque Modern Family-esque kind of thing they do when they're sitting and talking to the camera. And they do kind of show them talking to the camera as if they ask them a question, but you never hear them ask a question or anything like that. And it's nobody apparently talking. And at some point that breaks and somebody responds and asks a question to Scarlet Witch at one point. She's like, "What? You're not supposed to talk." So you're definitely, it's very weird, this kind of scenario that's happening with the episode, because it's all being orchestrated and they're answering questions that they're not even hearing. You know what I mean? Like, that was really pretty interesting to see. And and Quicksilver's not in it. He's gone. So that there was that. But the major reveal of this episode is obviously that it wasn't Scarlet Witch controlling everything the whole time, and the character Agnes has a lot to do with it. And I love Agnes. What do you think of Agnes?
I enjoy Agnes a lot, and obviously that's something I think everybody kind of saw coming. It's not like it's surprising.
Yeah,
even if you
Agatha
weren't
Hargraves, right?
Even if you weren't reading comics or anything like that, like, I think it's just very apparent. I will say real quick though that there's 2 more episodes. So we got one more this Friday, and then the 5th is the last one. So it's 9
awesome.
episodes. But
yeah, I'm very excited to see what happens with that.
Yeah, I enjoy her. I think she's witty, and I enjoy like everything with her, and I'm excited to see what goes on now, because I loved her little like theme song that she did.
Yeah, they had a
really
great intro for her, and like, that she's been doing all this stuff, and they show her behind the scenes orchestrating all this stuff.
Every WandaVision like thing that we can think of, not everything, but like key moments, and it shows that like she was the puppet master for certain things that happened. So I really enjoyed that. What else happened? I don't know. I always say this like when we talk about this, but I'm very into like different decades when it comes to periods of like fashion and decor and like stuff like that. So it's really nice to see how they're doing this for each season, and also how like the quality of the filming changes with each decade
everything
and
changes,
stuff.
And then when it snaps back to reality, it goes back to regular widescreen and stuff like that. I especially like how she wakes up, and obviously after that night she's really worn out, and she's trying to stay home, while Vision's out, and that whole thing is happening with the circus. And she's basically like, everything's kind of just hiccuping around her and changing the era that it's in and all that stuff. And
she keeps like putting things out for Vision so he doesn't make it home, because she's like super upset about like everything that happened.
Yeah, she's setting up all these roadblocks. So as they're trying to get back into town, she's basically just making random roadblocks, crosswalks with little kids and utility workers and things like that.
I don't think this episode was as focused on Wanda as it was focused on like Vision and Agatha, of course. And is that her name? Agnes?
Yeah.
I said Agatha.
Agnes.
Wait, is that okay? I'm just
Agatha Hargraves.
Okay.
Basically, I
That
believe
is also
that's the whole name,
cool.
right? I'm getting that right, guys?
I don't know.
Agatha Hargraves.
I'm just making up names.
Yeah,
Either
I believe
way.
so.
I think it was focused on them and Monica Rambeau, which we haven't talked about at all. Miss Bang came out here, said, "I'm gonna go through this in a car that I got from this person, and then also it's not gonna work, but my whole ass body is gonna go through this, and I'm gonna come out with a superhero landing, and that's it."
Yeah, and she comes through with a superhero landing from 0 feet, basically. And then she does another superhero landing at another point. They just needed a way to indicate that she has powers besides glowing eyes, so they were like, give her some superhero landings,
Yeah,
no, it was kind of ridiculous.
I loved it though, because it's like, when she's going through like the hacks or whatever and like literally entering it, that whole thing is like super unnerving and like uncomfortable to watch, because it's like
very trippy Doctor Strange-esque kind of thing going on for sure.
And so when she finally like lands, I'm like, oh, she's just gonna like pass out on the floor, but she does a superhero landing. I was like, oh shit, she's gonna have something like cool going on. And then she like picks up her head and you see her eyes are all glowing and shit. I didn't expect that. I had no like, Joe has this problem where he likes to look up everything before we even watch an episode of a show and then try to talk to me about it. Like, I don't care. I'd rather just watch it when it happens. And so I'm sure you knew that was coming. I did not know that was coming, and I thought it was pretty nice. I enjoyed it.
The only thing that I see coming that I really hate with some of their movies lately, and now I'm seeing in this series, is I'm tired of, the main character and the bad guy and all that being so similar in their powers or their costumes or whatever that whenever CG comes up, it's basically you're just looking at two different colors. That was my biggest problem with the change into the CG for Spider-Man. That's the problem I had with Killmonger versus Black Panther. It just became two different colored CG outfits on screen, and now it looks like it's about to become blue magic energy from Rambeau versus red magic energy from Scarlet Witch versus purple magic energy from Agatha Hargreaves with different colored eyes for each of them. And I'm like, come on, man. You got to give me something like uniquely different about their powers, at least, I hope, to where like it doesn't look like just random beams of like colored gases or lightning going across the screen. I really hope that doesn't happen. What do you think about that? Did you notice that at all with their stuff?
Well, no, I saw an article that basically said the color signatures of the magic users and magic adjacent people line up with the Infinity Stones. So I wonder if that's like actually a thing that's going to come into like topic or play, or if it's just a comparison.
That would be great in the sense that it also changes what kind of attributes they're using during these altercations. That would be awesome. Then it would help me a lot, and it wouldn't be like just looking at flashy colors on screen doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's always so annoying anymore after we've seen this many Marvel movies.
I think the only thing I'd like to see more is more of like the actual people in the town, because I kind of love when Vision is like, let me poke your head and like kind of see what's going on, or just seeing them glitch out. Like there was some glitches we saw for sure, like people just frozen, kind of not doing anything and stuff, but I'm really interested to see like what happens after this with them.
Yeah, and I'm seeing that they were showing a couple really peculiar characters throughout the audience that were kind of watching her throughout some of the neighbors, so I'm thinking like maybe not everybody is just a regular pedestrian that got changed. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're either working for Agatha Hargreaves or for Sword, or something's happening one way or another that's kind of altering things. And also, obviously, Agatha Hargreaves probably works for a bigger boss that they're going to introduce for the Doctor Strange crossover thing. So I'm thinking that may be like Nightmare or somebody, because it's, the multiverse of madness kind of deal. So I think that would be really cool. Then it would be really big ending. But what would you give the episode overall?
I mean, I don't really want to rate this by episodes. I think it's a fine episode. I think this just has to be talked about as a series itself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I liked it. I haven't complained about anything on the show, really, honestly. So.
Well, I had a couple complaints, but overall this episode was really fun and a lot of cool stuff was happening.
No one cares.
No one cares?
About
what do you mean nobody cares?
Because your complaints are invalid, because the show is fantastic. The end.
We will see. We have 2 more episodes. I obviously have high hopes for it. I'm enjoying it, but I still have my suspicions. But all right, I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. Let's head up to the next topic, which would be the movie we watched, Archenemy.
Oh, yeah, we watched that today. And I have something I want to say. This movie fucking sucked. It sucked. It is, for me, the closest in comparison to how I felt about Bloodshot when we reviewed it and how upset I was. I feel the same. And if you listen to that episode, you hear me be very upset and saying I didn't like it. I didn't like this.
What?
I don't think there was anything redeeming.
It wasn't that bad at all. I actually didn't mind this, and I thought it was pretty unique. It was great. It's like a low budget, like an indie film. But I did like that it had the live action comic book stuff mixed in with it.
Let me just take it back real fast.
Okay, go ahead. Take it back.
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
It's 4.5? You're already rating it? We're not even into the description of the movie.
I don't want to be mean and say it fucking sucks, because that's mean, because people worked on this movie and like maybe it's not great. I just didn't love it. It wasn't for me. If it's for you, that's cool. Specifically, if it's for Joe, that's cool. I was already feeling like kind of, okay, I guess I'll watch it. Like, based on the trailer, it didn't seem like I would love it. But you know what? So many things start like that for me. I'm like, I don't know if I'll love this. And I love it. This, I do not love.
Yeah,
I'm let down.
Okay, so basically,
and also, before you finish, you
Yeah.
said something about indie. I like indie stuff, so don't play me out and say like I don't like indie things.
well,
That's it.
basically the gist of this movie is there's this kid and his sister. The sister, is kind of like paying for them to get by for the most part, and she's getting into some shady stuff, working for this like crime boss basically. And the brother is trying to get by, and he's out like recording crackheads and stuff, and he's trying to get a job as like a journalist on like a social media website, basically like doing little blurbs or whatever you would call those things. And he gets a job like getting a little trial run with this company, and she gets a job working for this crime boss, basically trying to be like an informant. And she goes for her job, and the guy ends up killing himself by accident, and she steals a bag of money. And he finds a homeless man who's kind of crazy and says he's from another planet and that he was a superhero on another planet, and he got transported to Earth, lost his powers, and now he's a drunken bum. And this drunken bum is played by Joe Manganiello, I believe. I don't know how to pronounce his last name exactly, but the dude, I really like him. He was awesome in this. He's really funny as like a drunken bum guy. Like he does a good job, and when he like loses his mind, he's like really fun to watch. But I feel like he's the only thing that really grabs me in this. I do not really like the acting of the other characters as much. The one guy's funny, the guy from Always Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
Watching him on screen at first, I didn't think it was him, and then I really saw some light hit him, and I was like, oh my god, that's so funny. He was good, like in a comic-y sense, like he was funny to watch.
I just didn't feel like anything from any of their characters. Like, it was supposed to be like, we're in this, the main guy is like, I'm from like this really bad area of town, and I want to showcase like this world to people. And my sister and I have been through stuff, and there was like no connection. Like, I didn't feel for any of that. I didn't really believe that dynamic. It was just weird.
I didn't believe it, especially in the sense that they're teenagers and they got like this fancy apartment that's all psychedelic and like decked out with stuff,
yeah.
and like,
well, I mean, she's doing
they're
all
like
that,
these
so.
artsy kids that are in a bad situation somehow, but like she's affording to pay for them both, and they're like teenagers.
I mean, they don't, and it's not like they're like 19 and going into their 20 teenagers. It looks like they're like 16, 17-year-old kids, like in comparison to like what's going on. So I don't know. It just like,
yeah, their characters didn't sell me.
No,
his I liked. Those there I didn't like as much.
The two guys that we talked about, they were good. The main guy and then the dude from Always Sunny, and I like the comic-y bits. I got that. It just didn't feel 100% right for this. We were talking about earlier too, the person who made this movie, or people rather, are the ones who did like Mandy and A Color in Space or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And those are very like artsy, colorful, like just out of the box kind of indie movies, which is.
It says Elijah Wood was a producer too on this.
Yeah, Elijah Wood does a lot of stuff. But it just was not the vibe for me.
Yeah, I did enjoy a lot of the comic-y aspects of it. I enjoyed the live comic panel stuff that was going on. I enjoyed the idea of the story. I just thought that like the middle of it was really flat. Like as it got to the end, I enjoyed the end. I enjoyed some of the action sequences. It was a little ridiculous how it played out. Like some homeless guy with no ID and some teenagers managed to take some of their money and buy a ton of weapons.
Yeah, but it's not even
like that was a little ridiculous.
It's not even that. It's just the fight scenes were like lackluster. The only thing that made me go like, oh my god, was like when the one girl got stabbed in the ribs. Like everything else was like, okay, I kind of feel like this doesn't happen. It didn't feel, I don't know. It just, it doesn't feel complete.
The parts where he was basically a raging, like sloppy fighting homeless person in the very beginning. That was like good. It sold well to me, that initial part where he kills the two guys.
Where it makes you
But
kind of feel like
the other parts, yeah, like you said, I didn't like
it
the other
makes you
parts
kind of
as
feel
much.
like is he actually like from another planet, or is he just like a guy who lost his shit? But I literally just don't feel any connection. I kind of feel like somebody went into like their editing phase, started editing this movie, left out a chunk of it that maybe we missed, and then didn't do a final draft and then just uploaded it. Like, that's how I feel. I feel like it's missing stuff.
Well,
And
yeah,
the plot's like scattered.
maybe
almost.
this could have been sold as a series.
Could've.
They could have played this out in episodes and made it like
This
very
could've-
comedic and fun.
I think
and
this would have
then-
been way better as a show. Absolutely.
Yeah, yep. I think that would have been I think maybe that's what we're missing, is the way they put it together as a movie kind of didn't grab us enough. I enjoyed the way they played out the ending and stuff. That was cool. The at the end, spoiler, you know, there are some powers that do get unveiled and stuff like that. I'm not going to really give it away totally, but I didn't really like that part too much, but I do like how the ending played out with the story, because the whole time I'm actually thinking like, is this dude from another planet? Did he have powers, or is he a crazy homeless person? Because a lot of times you're sitting there and you're like, dude, at this point I would think this guy, he has a mental illness, and I got to really leave this drunk guy alone because he's going to get me into a lot of shit. Like, at one point, he, like, attacks a guy in his car and, like, all kinds of stuff. He acts a little wild. I'm going to give this movie, a flat, 7.
That is really high for
You
no
think
reason.
so?
Yeah, if you feel that way, that's fine. I really don't think it should have.
You gave it a 4.5. She gave it a 4.5. I'm going to give it a 7 because I enjoyed, the character, the story. I enjoyed, the little comic stuff that they did put in it. I just didn't like the way the movie played out, and a couple of the performances I wasn't as keen on. But I like ideas like this, and obviously I'm like a comic guy, so I want to watch all this kind of stuff all the time. But I'll give it a solid 7, and she's going to give it a 4.5. She didn't like this one at all. But that's okay, because I have a negative review coming up for the next thing we're going to talk about.
Well, that's stupid, because it's the best thing that's ever happened to anime and modern television. Welcome. We are talking about SK8 The Infinity, the new hot, beautiful, fantastic anime that dropped. Winter anime, man, comes out, and it comes out hot, and it comes out great, and this is just really fun. I'm not into a lot of sport anime things. I got into Yuri on Ice because I don't know, I was into the ice skating, but now I am into the skateboarding, which shouldn't be a surprise because I'm dating a skater boy.
A skater boy, really?
That's you.
I am not a skater boy.
So bringing it back to the plot, it's a group of hardcore skaters who kind of have street races, and they're very secret, and you have to have a very specific badge or sticker to get into them because they're so elite and secret. But it's I don't even know how to explain it. So it's called S, and it's street racing, obviously with skateboards, and you go down all these crazy curved roads, and sometimes you go on top of rocks and things that don't make sense for skateboarding.
Yeah, just as fast as they'll start to get some details about skateboarding that seem a little accurate and they're decent to watch, they will lose me so heavily with this dumb shit they do.
But the thing is, it's anime, so it's supposed to be dramatic and it's supposed to be crazy. And
I know.
So we come across this character, I believe his name's Reki,
yeah.
And he is just this very eccentric, loud dude who works at a skate shop, and
it's called what is it called? Sketch Dude?
Something like that, yeah.
Or Sketch Dope or something. It's ridiculous.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and I love it. And the main whole plot is that he loves skating. It kind of seems like his life revolves around it. He loves to build custom boards. He works at the shop. He does these races and stuff like that. So he comes across a boy named Langa, and he is from Canada. And during one of the skate nights,
and you could tell he's from Canada because he's frosty white with blue hair and blue eyes. And when he does fantastic things, snow falls from the sky.
Does it?
Yep.
I don't remember seeing the snow. It doesn't matter. Anyways, comes down to a night where your boy has to skate And he does it real well for somebody who's literally never skateboarded. And there's a part where, like, he is on the board and really can't hold on to anything and it's just falling all over the place. So he goes into this competition or street racing, whatever you want to fucking say, and he duct tapes his fucking feet to the board and starts shredding it. He starts doing some snowboarding stuff. He keeps doing all these crazy tricks, and it's just a really cool concept to me. I mean, obviously, I don't think normally somebody would get on a board and be totally fine like that, but the concept of, like, it being similar to snowboarding and to some degree that a person like that could pick it up, I think it's really fun. We're only, like, 3 episodes deep into the show, and I think there's only 6 out so far.
Yeah, we're waiting for the English dubs and everything,
Yeah.
especially because we're always doing so many things at once. Like, we were doing dinner stuff at the same time we were watching this stuff, so
Yeah, so
we need to make sure we can have one or two
every
senses available.
We wait for it to come out every week, dubbed, so maybe if Joe has any interest in this, he can update it. If not, I will continue to do it. I think there's like 7 out right now. So
Yeah, I can deal with it, I guess.
even if you're not into like sports anime, I think this is really fun. I think this is like a different take because it's not just the generic sport anime. It's like here's skateboarding, which I never thought would be something I would be interested in for a show. But it's really fun. All the other like skaters that go to the S like to skate are fucking shot out. There's like a dude who's like basically like a juggalo.
It's like every ridiculous anime trope you can imagine
Yeah,
that they throw in there with the humor and everything and
It's
the
like
characters.
skate identities they
And the
have.
ridiculous like hierarchies of skate bad guys, you know. Ooh, spooky wooky.
I don't know why you're so upset about this because this is something that you enjoy, skateboarding, and obviously it's not going to be literally exact. It's going to be fun and interesting, and it has a pretty good story so far. I don't know why you were more into a movie that was not great in comparison to a show that has a lot more promise and has a lot more relatability and comedy and everything's nice. And also, when it cuts over like almost like commercial parts, there's really cute animations, and I enjoy that.
I guess I had hopes of it being more of a ridiculous, like, rocket power type of show with a kid and his friend skating. And when it got brought over into the, like, typical anime type of realm, I don't enjoy it very much. And, like, obviously, like, they race in a mine with dirt roads, and they ride up rocks and bounce off of trees, and
it's anime, bro. It's literally anime. Get over it and just enjoy the show for what it is.
Yeah, but then they go into all these technicalities of how the skateboards are made and what kind of model it is, and not one of them has any kind of like dirt tires on this thing, like it would be like an off-road board or anything like that. They got these little, typical little wheels that would, you would eat. You would eat dirt so hard if you hit even the littlest pebble on the road with those.
That's true, but I do think like their slang and their dialogue and everything is like, I think it's accurate to like skate stuff. No, I don't feel like
some
it's,
of
like,
it is.
cheesy.
Some of it is. I'll give you that. A couple
Yeah.
things that they do, they try to be accurate, like I said, and then they throw you off with something that's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I so far do not really enjoy this show. I would
love
give
it.
this in
A
like
9.
4.5
Give
realm
it a 9.
so far.
It's fantastic. Please watch it. It's really, really fun.
She is out of her mind. It is
Mm-mm.
ridiculous. And I can't even imagine the other animes you watch about. What was the skating one you said? There's an ice skating one.
Ice. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend anything like that, guys.
Yeah, because you don't like
that's-
anything with good culture or taste, apparently. Because look at the movie you think is fantastic.
Yo, look, I like skateboarding. I like stuff that involves skateboarding. I
Hold
get
on,
psyched
hold on.
for it, but I did not.
So on
dig that at all.
IMDb, SK8 The Infinity currently has a 8 out of 10. What was the other movie that we watched?
Archenemy. She's gonna try to be totally mean to this thing over
Okay.
anime, which everybody will watch
5
the
out of
dumbest
10.
animes sometimes.
5 out of 10. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that's a 3 whole points higher for SK8 Infinity.
Yo, people
Thank you.
will watch anything when it comes to anime, though. It
Oh,
could
I'm
be
sorry.
about anything, and people will watch it.
I'm so sorry. I read that wrong. It's a 7.7. I was looking at my anime list. So 7.7 on IMDb and 5 for you on your dumb movie.
Oh.
This is a very divided episode if you could not tell.
Yeah, we feel different. It's basically like a reverse for the two things. Like, I was okay with and thought the movie was decent, and she hated it, and I hate this show, and she
You
thinks
don't
it's decent.
fucking
Well,
hate
actually,
the show.
she really likes the show. I'm not a huge fan
I've
of the
showed
show.
it to people and they liked it a lot, and I think you're wrong. That's it.
Look.
And with that, this episode is over. Thank you so much.
Oh, come on. She's very upset now that we don't agree on this one, but it's okay. I'm willing to give it a couple more shots. I'll watch a few episodes. It's whatever. And maybe we'll begin to both like the show.
I'm mostly just tired, but I am a little salty because I think the show is very good.
Well, we'll let you know how we feel about the rest of it. And we also started another show. We just started that what is it? That series on Netflix about the Cecil Hotel. Cecil Hotel, and it's about the disappearance of the girl there and how it became like this big thing.
Elisa.
And Elisa.
Yeah, it was the woman that was found in the water tank of the hotel. I think it's like in 2013. I thought it was pretty recent, but I totally was not. And there's also, it looks like there's other stories of people staying there. This is like a very dark place in LA. Obviously, we're into like haunted places, and I've considered staying at like a haunted place. I would never stay at this place based on the fact that like, first off, I don't even know if it's like running and things are going on there, but based on the fact of like how much crime and death and like really scary shit has happened there. Like it's if you took American Horror Story like hotel and took out like the lore of like the vampires and stuff, and only took the really dark shit that happened there. Like shit like that happens there.
Yeah, it's like, it's basically the Sleazy Hollow. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, nobody wants to stay in that place.
I mean,
and the people that do,
idea.
They say in the series, they're mostly travelers from other countries and stuff.
It's so cheap. They were saying rooms were like $80 a night in LA. That's like fucking impossible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that one's pretty unique so far. I want to see where it goes. Obviously, we're going to talk more about it probably in the next episode. We'll be done with that.
I don't know if I like this. I like the actual like story of it. I don't like it, but I'm intrigued by the Cecil Hotel and stuff. I feel like this is kind of a weird documentary. The way that it's filmed and like the interviews, the way that it's being done is kind of odd to me. But I mean, if you're even remotely interested in it, just Google and check some things out if that's if that's something that you're interested in. But yeah. Yeah,
so that one, I don't know how they're going to stretch it out into like multiple episodes, because the first episode was like, 50 minutes? It was pretty long. So I guess they're going to go into a lot of like paranormal stuff as well as the investigation and all that, although a lot of us obviously know the outcome of this whole deal. But so I'm interested to see where that goes. We'll touch base on that next time, but that about wraps it up for today's episode. And we will catch you guys next week for episode 60. Wow, we're already going to be at episode 60. Can you believe that?
You're not even giving out the outro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The outro starts with episode 60. Like, we're getting closer and closer to 100 episodes. We're getting there.
I don't know what's happening. Anyways, you can check us out over on Instagram. We are Pod for the recently released on there. I've been putting up little clips from the show, and I've been posting some cool stuff over there. So I would love if you could check us out and come say hello. You can also listen to us all over the internet on different places. We are available directly through our website, through Spotify, through SoundCloud, through Apple Podcast, through Stitcher, through just about anywhere you can listen to podcasts. And if there's something that you can't find us on, let me know, and I'll look into getting us on there. But we would love to hear from you. If there's things that you would love to hear us talk about, you would recommend us watching, maybe there's some things we should discuss that aren't podcast or spooky podcast related or nerdy podcast related. Maybe we got some cool life stories we could share or something, but let us know.
Ew, life stories. Nobody wants to hear our life stories. I meant
like when we were talking about going through abandoned buildings and cool stuff like that, not like whatever you're thinking about because you're being a weenie right now.
I could share some old photos and videos and stuff from some of our explorations and stuff like that.
Yeah, we could talk about Joe's video on YouTube that has over 9 million views, and it's him as Spider-Man, and it's awful and amazing at the same time.
I'm trying to find, I was giving out DVDs when I was in high school of it that had like 3 different episodes and a commercial and like behind the scenes and all that, because I lost that over the years. So if anybody listening to this somehow remembers me from high school and has one of those, I would really appreciate that. That would be great. What are you doing? What are you looking all bummed out over there with your head down?
I'm falling asleep.
All right. That'll wrap it up for today. Thanks a lot, guys. Tune in next week. Peace. Thanks for listening to yet another episode of Podcasts for the Recently Released. If you want to peep some of our older episodes, we've got a ton of them. Just check us out on podcastfortherecentlyreleased.com. We've got merch, older episodes, links for other ways to listen to us, and more. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Don't let your meatloaf. Stay safe out there, guys.